This gang.
Yikes. 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the flow playing, got it all band. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat, we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, and Alex Toledo, plus others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Welcome back to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor Live. I am your host, Greg Sylvander, coming at you directly following the Miami Heat's home loss to the Denver Nuggets. Tonight's floor plan with me for the postgame show, Brian Fonseca. You can follow him on Twitter at Brian Fonseca NY, and Tony Schwartz. You can follow him at Tony Schwartz NBA. We are going to dissect this Miami Heat loss to the Denver Nuggets, where, frankly, they were outmatched in a lot of ways, and we'll get into reasons why. I was surprised they were able to even score as much as they did for a lot of that game, just because it hasn't trended in that direction lately. But before we dive into the game, I want to shout out one of the biggest sponsors, the sponsor of 5 on the Floor Live, the official post-game show of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, and that is A-Aggressive Insurance, the insurance agency that works for you. A-Aggressive Insurance, you need to call 954-581-8800 for a phone quote if you're looking for a quality auto policy with benefits that won't leave you in a rut. If you're paying too much high cost for insurance, look no further. They have the best rates in South Florida. You need homeowners insurance, life insurance, business liability, retirement programs, financial services and careers. This is where you want to go. She is a loyal friend of the program, Lynette. Go to insurancebylynette.com. A-Aggressive Insurance, 954-581-8800. So damn, like they hung with him, but it wasn't enough. 112-108, the Miami Heat lose to the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are the 1 seed in the West. I don't think anyone should be surprised by this. Before we dive into the nuts and bolts of the game, the whys, the hows, Tony Schwartz, your initial reactions of the loss to the Nuggets for the Heat.
It's so hard to beat a team that's shooting 57% from the field. And they were hitting, if you take heaves out of the equation, they were hitting at a 67% clip. The math wasn't there. You couldn't rebound the ball enough to stop all the extra possessions that Denver was getting, and you weren't getting enough variance shooting the ball to bring balance to the lineup. I'm surprised the Heat were this close in the matchup. It goes to show you sometimes math doesn't matter. The Denver Nuggets generated 6 more possessions than the Miami Heat, but they really kept it close and brought it back in the last quarter there. They won a lot of those non-Jokic minutes. Thomas Bryant was getting cooked. That was beautiful to see. But eventually it just catches up to you. The math just catched up. They were, for most of the game, Greg, it was like 50% offensive rebounding rate. Denver was rebounding 50% of their shots. You can't beat a team that's doing that and shooting the 3-ball. Just the math doesn't work out in your favor.
There's a couple things. So some of this I was tracking at halftime. I jumped into Spaces and mentioned it. Like all of the metrics that tell you the Heat are going to lose, the Heat bench getting outscored, them being out-rebounded, the other team shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3. I think maybe Denver finished a shade under 40% from 3. All of it was trending in the wrong direction, but yet they were right there. And they stayed around, right? So it's like, to me, I guess there has to be some level of wins offensively that they were able to keep pace with this team. Obviously, it wasn't pretty. Brian, as we kind of look at the team as a whole, the base of the offense was a lot different tonight with no Tyler Hero, no pick and rolls. It was Butler and Bam in the mid-range. What did you see from Jimmy in the mid-range that you liked? Bam Adebayo, although he didn't rebound well, definitely did some things offensively. Let's hone in on Jimmy and Bam a little bit about and what you saw from those two tonight.
One of the last possessions notwithstanding, Jimmy Butler was able to get to his spots, right? He was able to be effective in a lot of different ways, and I thought he played a good two-way game tonight. You know, Bam, I thought he didn't rebound the ball enough. That tends to happen against Nikola Jokic. Like, it's the only guy in the league where he sort of has this struggle against. You know, it's hard to get around somebody who's like 280 and try to like box him out. But look, Bam, he got to his spots too in the mid-range area. I think, you know, it was only but so much you can do. Once Tyler Hero was out, you knew this was going to be a challenge. And a lot of people in the comments and on Twitter were talking about the undrafteds. Want to point out that other than Bam and Jimmy, all the guys who played were undrafted today. So if you look at the roster, right, you had 8-man rotation tonight. You had Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, obviously. Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Haywood Highsmith, Orlando Robinson, Jamari Bouye. Those are the other 6.
What is happening?
And undrafted players, I could identify with that, right? I think most people in life are probably closer to an undrafted rookie as opposed to a number 1 overall pick. You need those in order to have a functional organization. However, to have 6 out of 8, to have 75% of your rotation be undrafted players, it's a big ask to beat the team with the MVP, the team with the best player in the league this season, probably the team that's probably going to come out of the West. Maybe, just maybe. Look, if they could stop somebody at a reasonable clip, it's just very difficult, you know, to ask of that. That being said, like, I found myself actually encouraged with like some of what Orlando Robinson showed. Some Heat fans might not want to hear this because they prefer to sign somebody on the buyout market as a backup, right? And I think if you're a real playoff team, you try to go veteran. Like, I think you circle Nerlens Noel, and if he's bought out, that's somebody you try and get. But Orlando Robinson, I think he's going to factor into this team's plans one way or another, because if Omer Yurtseven is not going to be here long term, you probably sign Orlando Robinson to a deal at some point.
Yeah, I want to stop there for a minute. I'm going to shout out PrizePicks, the official daily fantasy sports app, daily fantasy sports platform of 5 Reasons Sports and 5 on the Floor. It has been a lot of fun playing the Super Bowl props tonight. I thought for sure Jimmy was going to go over on 2.5 blocks and steals, and I was wrong. So there I go, giving bad information out to our subscribers on the timeline and such. But use the code 5 FIVE. You'll get your initial deposit matched, and maybe don't use my advice, but use your own, and you can win up to 10 times your money. This is PrizePicks. You can use desktop application or go to the Google Play or Apple App Store, and you will be able to find it. So make sure that you check out PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made easy. They do really cool promos day over day. So check out PrizePicks, but use the code 5 FIVE to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. So, do we all agree? Tony, I guess I'll let you answer first, but Brian, I'd like to know just yes or no. Orlando Robinson's going to be converted to a standard contract, yes or no?
No, yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the 2 roster spots. We all in agreement?
Now, well, let me back you up. Now, if you're asking me if that's going to happen, probably. If that's what should happen, though.
Do you think that they should play that game where he does as many games on his 2-way, stays on his 2-way, and then they use the 2 spots for veterans? That's interesting. I haven't heard anyone close to the org suggest that, but I think it's more that most people are just subconsciously assuming Orlando Robinson's getting that spot. So maybe the questions aren't being asked, and they're going to come back and laugh and say, well, you didn't ask. That's why you didn't know. But let's just say that there's one spot, Tony, to fill on this roster of the buyout guys. And I know that a lot of people have been looking at point guards. There's this Russ talk. There's these Will Barton talk.
Right.
But then you have a game like tonight against Nikola Jokic.
Careful.
I've been messing those up lately. No. So you got a guy like him. You got Giannis in the conference.
Right.
And I start to think about, if you can't count on Yurt, and Orlando is still young and he's green and on the road in the playoffs, just makes me scared. Do they have to lean big with that buyout spot if it is one spot? How do you feel about how they should approach the buyout spot if indeed it's one roster spot to fill?
Yeah, what the Heat do and what I think should happen typically are 2 different things. But I would hope so. I think tonight you bring up Giannis, and it's not just Giannis; it's Embiid. There's a lot of bigs. Rob Will in Cleveland. There's a lot of guys that present the same kind of challenge for us that push us off the offensive boards. We just don't score enough points to not have those opportunities in our offense. If you're going to make a run at the playoffs this year, what it looks like you're very comfortably in the 6th seed. You better get some size. If you're talking veterans like Serge Ibaka, I'm comfortable with that. If you're talking Nerlens Noels, I'm comfortable with that. The one thing I would say is you want to get bigs that you can throw at opposing teams as a different look, and they should be able to play with Bam, at least in spot minutes. So Serge Ibaka works that way. Nerlens Noel doesn't quite work that way, but he would easily be our best backup big on the roster. So that jump in talent, pretty important to add. But I like the kind of guys that we can throw as a switch up for 6 minutes. Just shove something at Embiid that makes him back out for 6 minutes so somebody else can play. I'm hoping where they go. Will Barton's interesting, though, because the point of attack defense kind of sucks, too. And that was a big problem tonight. So that's the one guy, if we do go guard, I would love Will Barton.
Yeah, no, he intrigues me as well. It's hard to get away from the size thing as I look around the buyout market. And then I'm I'm trying to think damn, is there a big that's going to spring free somewhere? Maybe like a stretch 4 that can spring free here at the last minute. I don't know it's going to happen. Team building is hard. Just ask the Miami Heat. Just ask me, who's trying to look at the buyout market. ODM Performance Solutions can help you build a winning team and keep it together. If you're looking to fill an important role at your company, ODM Performance Solutions, they can help you find C-suite level leadership, sales rainmakers, executives, operational support. Find out more. Check out odmpsi.com or give them a call at 954-434-0634. The ODM PSI, they can help you with a ton of stuff, whether it's acquisition, whether it's consulting. It can be as easy as a phone call, how to help you grow your social media. Check it out, odmpsi.com, 954-434-0634. This is where we're closing, y'all. The ODM performance solution of the night is Spo needed to play more of Jamari Bouye.
Maybe.
Booyah. Buddy, I know that's mad corny, but yeah, I just had to throw it in there. He was efficient. He was active. 3 steals. Rough around the edges. As we close here, Brian, you first. Thoughts on Jamari Bouye as a player? Maybe not as a playoff contributor. I'm not trying to career trajectory this guy. What can we expect from him over the course of the next 30 days to get us through?
I'm fearing that we might have the answer to our roster spot questions on the team already. And you hope that that's not the case, but none of us would be surprised if the Heat were just hey, all right, Bouye and Orlando Robinson, because those are 2 of the only guys you could sign to multi-team deals. I don't think that's what they should do. Tony mentioned Will Barton. Will Barton, to me, is the best player available on this buyout market. I think he's the best player available, considering what you're going to need at the guard spot, because as Ethan mentioned on the last podcast, Victor Oladipo's health, he's been good this year, defensively, but Victor Oladipo's health can't really be trusted. And I think while Russell Westbrook is the most talented player available, I don't think he's the best player available in terms of fit and in terms of just obviously his play style, and I'm not sure how it's going to mesh with the team that can't shoot, and you bring in somebody else who can't really shoot. That being said, I think Jamari Bouye has, I think he has the potential to become somebody who is in the NBA for a little bit, perhaps on this team, but I don't sign him this season, because you have to get serious about these 2 roster spots. You did nothing at the trade deadline. You have to be able to at least get some adults in the room and get some guys who can play and contribute right now. And if I'm a Will Barton, I would look at Miami and be all right, Kyle Lowry, we don't know when he's going to come back. Victor Oladipo's in and out of the lineup. Gabe Vincent is starting at point guard. Why couldn't Will Barton come in here and actually be somebody who eats up a lot of minutes at the guard spot? Because I do agree. They need a big. Somebody mentioned Dario Saric a few days ago. Dario Saric is another one. He works as a guy who could be a backup 5 and then also play with Bam as a 4 in some lineups, right? If Kelly Olynyk gets bought out, that's a lot of that's probably the organization's dream
That
scenario.
changes
I don't
things,
think
yeah.
that's happening.
Even Kevin Love.
Even Kevin Love.
Mm.
I know. I know.
But wait, we're gonna derail the
Just need
show and
6
go down
minutes.
this. We can't go down this buyout.
All I'm
route.
saying is, look. Jamari Bouye, he's good game today. Liked what I saw. Signed Will Barton.
So Tony, amongst the network, you're probably one of the more plugged in to the G League dudes that we have as it relates to summer league and the prospects that come in and out of there. I'm interested. So then, from your perspective, because you probably watched a little bit of Jamari Bouye as he's not been in a Heat uniform, what you've seen different from him than what you may have seen from him when he initially put on a Heat practice uniform, maybe back in Vegas or wherever. And then also, if there's any other guys that like you think maybe from a two-way perspective we should be keeping our eyes on as we're kind of just going over names. Don't mean to put you on the spot. If it's just Jamari Bouye analysis, that's great. And then we're going to close up shop here with a couple comments.
No, great call sending it there, because that's really where I wanted to bring it. First of all, Sales Rainmaker is getting added into my my resume. Kabouye is now the official nickname. I want to change it to Kabouye. That was hilarious. If Brian's scenario is right and they take Bouye and Orlando Robinson, to answer your question,
better not
Greg,
be right, Tony.
I'm hoping not. I'm really hoping. But if it is, the call up is Justin Champagnie. I think he's been playing really well for them. He would serve great in this role right now where we just need minutes for guys that are kind of irrational and go head first. That's what Bouye's best at. What he was doing when he wasn't in a Heat uniform was exactly what he was doing in Summer League in a Heat uniform, running straight at people. He can facilitate really well off the dribble too for a guy as young as him. I like his minutes because he's irrational and he's extremely confident on the floor. When he gets into his dribble, he looks like he's been playing for 10 years. He's not shook by whoever's defending him or whoever's in front of him. Those are the kind of minutes you need from guys like him. 28 minutes was a lot.
This is true. Asking a lot of dudes.
He's also from Brooklyn, and his twin played at St. John's. He played at Pitt, so I saw him a good amount when he was in here locally. He was actually in the Raptors G League team last year, and he was playing well.
Yeah. He feels like a St. John's guy. Like he really does.
BK to the fullest. Anyway, thank you for joining us for this post-game show. We will have you covered for the game in Brooklyn on, what is that, Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern. We'll have you covered pre-game, post-game, all that good stuff. Brooklyn's right ahead of Miami in the standings, y'all. So that is going to be.
And they lost against the Knicks, and the Knicks made some ground on Miami. So Miami's got to start getting some W's.
Playoff grinding. It's happening. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to PrizePicks. Shout out to ODM Performance Solutions. Shout out to A Aggressive Insurance. Have a great night.